All right. Hey, everybody. This is welcome to Healed Whole Called podcast. I'm Wendy Melrose, founder of Resilience Press, where we believe God redeems our stories and uses them to bring healing and purpose for others. This is where we have real conversations about resilience, faith, healing, and calling that can come from life's hardest seasons. And if you're joining us live today, say hello in the comments and tell us where you're watching from. Today, I'm honored to welcome Alexi Bracey. Alexi is a resilience with heart mentor, speaker, and cancer victor who helps women turn life's toughest challenges into strength, resilience, and joy. After healing naturally from cancer more than 25 years ago, she dedicated her life to helping others build emotional resilience and navigate adversity with courage and purpose. Today, she equips people with practical tools to rise stronger and live a greater peace and joy. Alexi, it is great to have you today. How are you?
I'm good. I'm quite excited to be here as well.
Awesome. So, for those of us meeting you for the first time, can you tell us where you're joining from?
I am joining you from a small community just north of Toronto. It's winter here. We've had um, the snow all melted. It was all green. And then 2 days ago, we got 4 inches of snow. So it
Oh,
was all white again. And then we had a bit of a heat wave, so to speak, overnight. And 3/4 of it is now melted again. So the streets, little floods here and there, lots of puddles. And I have two dogs, so I'm constantly wiping their feet down. And it's it's a mess. What can I say? But that's
I
the
get
way.
it.
That's winter, and nothing you can do about the weather. So just not complain. Just accept it.
Yeah, I totally can relate. Those of us in the Midwest, we just had storms go through last night and it was warm and now it's 24 degrees and the ground was wet and muddy. Now it's frozen. It's like, come on, spring, ups and downs till we finally get to the warm part of life. So it sounds like Toronto's very similar.
Yes.
So if someone were to meet you today, I'd love to really just dive deep into your story. What are 2 to 3 moments that have shaped your journey that brought you here?
Well, definitely it was my cancer diagnosis because it set me on a different path. I was uh, a traditional chef at the time, and so I changed my eating habits, um, got rid of toxins in my home, or I didn't know I had them. I did research to find out how I was going to heal cancer naturally, and so found out that toxins is primarily very instrumental in not just cancer but many diseases.
Mm-hmm.
And but when I got that phone call, I just knew I was going to beat it. There was no doubt in my mind. How? I didn't know, but I was going to do it. And with resilience and a positive mindset, some lifestyle changes, I was cancer free in a year's time. So that certainly changed the direction of my life. And
Uh-huh.
for many years, I helped people on their cancer journey with primarily with diet, and then also, like I said, all the toxins that we have. I'm a healthy home inspector, so I would go into people's homes and
Uh,
point out all the different toxins that they have in their home contributing to their cancer.
yeah.
And then an unexpected accident ended my chef career, and so what am I going to do now? And so, because it really impacted me financially, I ended up moving 6 times in 1 year. Basically, I was homeless. So, again, resilience came into play. So, I never felt sorry for myself. It was, okay, what's my next move? How can I capitalize on this? What can I learn from this? How can, and then joy sort of came into the picture. And I started doing Resilient Joy Boost short videos while I was homeless every single day, just
Wow.
to a short little message to leave a little nugget for people to think about something related to joy. So, how's your day going? How can you make it better? How can you impact somebody else? What's the best thing that's happened to you? Just sort of on and on. So, resilience is really at the forefront for me. And because I have the gift to bring joy through my joke telling, it's a natural fit. Plus, the fact that I took the Happy for No Reason training, where joy, kindness, gratitude, um, are part of the equation that add to happiness. So it's been a perfect fit. So it's been a journey, but I really feel that this is what I'm meant to do because it just so feeds my soul, and I see the feedback I get from people and the results. Um, because we live in times where there's so much insecurity, instability, you know, floods, famines, job losses, putting your seniors in nursing homes, you being diagnosed with some illness. And so we all need resilience skills, and people don't know how to cope. That's why there's so much anxiety and depression and drugs and alcoholism um, in the mainstream everywhere now. So,
Yeah.
just a few little nuggets can really change a person's life around, not away, around. I'm sorry.
Yeah, right. And I know that one of the comments you had made on in one of my notes was, I'd love an opportunity to share a joke. And considering that you already mentioned how you love to help people through humor, didn't know if you already had something planned, or do you try to make it, the lighter moments in life kind of impromptu?
Well, like even in the darker moments, as an example, um, they say behind every challenge, there's a nugget for you to be gleaned. There's something for you to learn. Like on a light note, for example, you broke up with that guy, but you found somebody else better. You didn't get the sale of that house, but you found a better deal. You didn't get the job, but something else came up. So those are just small examples, but on a bigger scale, when Christopher Reeves first had his accident that
Mhm.
shattered his spine, the person that was paramount in getting him on a positive note that provided the resilience, the strength that he was needing was Robin Williams through
Mm.
his humor. He brought joy to the equation. And Christopher Reeve said that the happiest days of his life were his last 3 months because of his research in spinal cord injury. He was able to impact so many people's lives. So
Mm.
it wasn't being Mr. Superman or the equestrian, it was how he helped other people through how he journeyed with the research, but it was the resilience that got him through. And like I said, Robin Williams was instrumental. How? Humor, joy, all those positive things that raise the frequency and just changes your mental attitude around whatever challenge you're having. And so we can all do that.
Yeah, and making the best of a situation, even when things are really hard. And it doesn't mean it removes the situation or removes the sadness if it happens to be a grief related thing, but it can create a change on the inside of you chemically to help you endure. Like you said, Kikoma kind of creates the resilience when you can find something to laugh at, or you just start to look at life differently, but in a way that is positive instead of negative.
Exactly. And everybody's fighting some kind of battle, and yours you may think is really bad, but somebody else is worse. You may never
Mhm.
know, but that impact you have by saying something kind or
Mhm.
offering a joke or that warm smile or a hug can really impact a person's life. Sometimes you will never know, but that's not the point. You know,
Mhm.
you're doing it to make a better difference for yourself and for another person, and then just raising the frequency of humanity because we need um, more, not just resilience, we need more kindness and gratitude and joy on the planet. Like look at the Buddhist monks that walked for peace in the United States, for almost 4 months through rain and sleet and snow and sometimes even walking on glass. 1 million children in Thailand have prayed for peace in their schools. So,
Mhm.
it's coming. It's just we need to wake up and really think it's not just me. There's this whole world around me, and I can impact it with little things and just make the world a better place, more peaceful, more kind, more loving, more joyous, because we're all in this on this planet to work together.
Right. Well, and do you feel like, God gave you it almost kind of like a wake up call with the cancer and then the accident that changed your trajectory of your life to serve in this way?
Oh, absolutely. Like things happen for a reason, and it's just how you embrace it to find the meaning for it. And even though you don't like things, you ask for those things um, in another life, if you can put it that way, if you believe in, being reincarnated. So it's definitely brought me to a place where I had gifts that I didn't know, and it feeds my soul so much more than anything I've ever done. I
Mhm.
just I can't say enough about it. From from my mentoring and my speaking and podcast interviews, from the articles that I write, the short videos that I do. It just puts such a beautiful feeling in my heart, and I know from the feedback, people are really appreciating it too. So, just because I'm doing it because I enjoy it doesn't mean that other people are also enjoying it, not knowing the impact that I can have for people. Like, for example, some years ago, I lived in a high rise, and I would take my dogs across the street to a park, and I noticed a young man standing on the corner having a cigarette. He had come from the Philippines to look after his brother, who was suffering from cancer. He would take him to doctor's appointments and that kind of thing. And so we became friends, and I'd see him every few weeks. We'd chat, for a few minutes. And then one day, he said that his brother had passed away, and would I come to the funeral service in a few weeks? And I said, absolutely. So when I arrived at the funeral home, there were about 30 Filipino women sitting in the chapel. I made my way up to my friend. He took me up to the casket. I had never met his brother. He explained that they were waiting to make arrangements to ship the body and the casket back to the Philippines for burial so their mother could be there for the service. We exchanged a few words. I left. Then several weeks later, I'm walking down the road, and a young Filipino woman approaches me, and she says, "Were you at so and so's funeral a few weeks ago?" I said, "Yes, I was." She says, "You have no idea how your presence impacted our community." I tell you, it so touched me. I will take this to my grave, And like I said, you never know how you can impact a person by a kind word, a kind thought, a deed, a smile, a big thank you. Like my thank yous, when somebody holds the door open for me, if I'm going into a store, I always ask if their mother is still alive. And most times they say yes. And I'll say, well, tell her she's done a good job. So they smile, and their mother's going to smile. And then, and another note is maybe their mother's going through a really rough time, and this little compliment changed the trajectory of her day as well. So,
Uh,
like I said, you just never know.
oh, that's beautiful. Well, and then to explore something more deeper with you, because so many people are carrying powerful stories but don't always know what to do with them. And I know that you have said you've been on several podcasts and shared so much, and I believe you're also working on a book. So what challenges have you faced when trying to share your story, and how helping others, and even your different journeys on non-toxic households and things like that?
Well, people think, it all has to be theory. I'm speaking from experience, and it's very easy to do simple steps. People think it's going to have to, be tedious and it's going to take a long time. No, every single day you can do two or three different things to raise that the I call resilience your superpower. So really empower you to find that meaning, that purpose, that strength that you has been untapped. Like in the morning, I suggest for people, first thing in the morning, look at yourself in the mirror in the bathroom and give yourself a self hug and repeat your favorite affirmations, whatever they may be. I'm healthy, whole, and complete. This day is going to be full of miracles. Whatever it is, it raises the frequency, and it's really important the eye contact, like you're really looking at yourself, and it just changes the tone of the day. And for people who think, oh, this is really hokey, I'm just suggesting, please try it. You may be quite surprised, and you can do it throughout the day. You know,
Mhm.
make a commitment that when you're walking down the street or whatever activities you have for the day, that you will share three positive comments to three different people, or say
Mm.
something kind or something nice. And I tell you, people are taken back when you say something out of the ordinary. Like most people say, I'll have a good day. Well, I mean, that to me is so vanilla. What does that mean? Don't burp in public or don't spill your coffee. So instead, say, I hope your day is filled with smiles from strangers. I hope today that you give a compliment to somebody that you don't know. I hope today that an opportunity comes up and you thank your creator for this great opportunity. And so it really gives people food for thought as opposed to the same mundane that we're used to. Hello, thanks, goodbye, have a good day. Like we're robots, you know,
Yeah.
and like just the extra mile, thanks is so it's just flippant. How about thank you? And if possible, find out the person's name because everybody likes the sound of their name.
Mm-hmm.
And you're at the going through the checkout at the grocery store, find out the cashier's name. Thank you, Sarah. How's your day going? You know, we just treat them as robots. They bag everything, they collect the money next. Whereas here, we're really treating them like a human being. And they're
Mm-hmm.
going through something too on their journey. You just never know. And so that's why my jokes really come in handy because it changes um, their frequency, and the person behind that hears will laugh as well. And then who knows who else laughs? And then they'll share with some. I love it when I say, I met this crazy woman at the grocery store. She shared a joke, but it was really good. And the story continues.
Yeah.
So, I make it contagious, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so good. And how would you love this story that you share in everything that you are with, sharing through positive things to three people? How would you love for that to impact the world around you? Like, because we know how, have you ever heard of the Pay It Forward? And there was even a movie made in the, I don't
Hmm.
know, late 90s, early 2000s about Pay It Forward and how it creates a ripple effect. I think we'd all love it to create a faster ripple effect because it's almost like sometimes we feel like we're taking 2 steps forward, 5 steps backwards. But positive is still positive, and we can't control those who are negative, right?
That's right.
So, have you seen uh, as you share your message with the world, it's starting to impact, and are you getting feedback at all? I was just curious.
Well, I'm definitely getting feedback on my posts on social media, primarily LinkedIn. And you know, people are texting me and saying, just that warmth, that smile, that connection, really changed the trajectory of that day, and I really thank you for it. And then people where I live and in the neighborhood know, oh, she's a happy lady, like this, just to sort of know, not happy as in jokes, just happy because for National Kindness Day or National Happiness Day, I'll make little cards, like business-sized cards with some kind of quote on it for people to give people food for thought. And I hand it out to strangers, and they're taken back. But you never know. Wow, so not the fact that somebody gave me the card, but the message on the card. I'm going to take it to heart, and whatever the message is, like when I handed out, a card on kindness, I said, you never know who's going through whatever challenge, so just show a little kindness, and it just gives people food for thought. They're not so wrapped up with their problems. They're thinking, well, there's a world out there, and people have their challenges as well. So
Mhm.
it's a ripple effect, I don't have any particular number in mind on how many people I want to impact. It's just people around me at the store, when I'm dog walking, when I'm sharing my jokes on podcasts, when I'm speaking on stages or, you know, um, networking meetings. There's always something that you can do to boost the energy of the frequency of the people by a kind word. Like I'm notorious for jokes everywhere I go, so people are sort of waiting at the end. Maybe it was a really serious Zoom meeting, and so here I end the meeting with a joke. Or even if you're going into a board meeting, maybe you were late, or maybe it's going to be something very serious. Start with a joke.
Yeah.
It just relaxes people. It's the same thing when you cut off in traffic, or like I said before, you're going into an important meeting, before you go to see your son's teacher because he's misbehaving. You've had an disagreement with your significant other, and you've just come home. Stop and take a breath, and breathe. You can do it for 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out, or you can do it as quickly as you want, and you can breathe in a positive emotion. So, for example, I'm breathing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm breathing out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm breathing in joy. I'm breathing out peace. I'm breathing in kindness. I'm breathing out love. I'm breathing in community. I'm breathing out happiness. So just like that didn't even take a minute. And it just changes your state of being, your frequency. It's the connection of your heart to yourself. It's not your brain that's in charge, it's your heart that's in charge and been cut off in traffic. You're late for the appointment, like I said, before a board meeting. This works miraculously. You just have an argument with your son, or he comes home and he said he's been expelled or whatever. Just take that really breath. It takes you less than a minute. And teach your kids, teach your family, your colleagues, your co-workers, your friends, because everybody needs it, because everybody's going through some kind of stress. It takes less than a minute. It's well worth it.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. And I'd love to, before we wrap up, what would you say to someone listening right now who might be walking through a difficult season? I know you talked about breathing, but then what if they're wondering if their story still matters?
Everybody's story matters, and there's always a nugget in your story to be gleaned. You may not know what it is, so ask for guidance. Pray to your higher power and say, what am I supposed to learn from this? Connect with people that you respect and ask them for their advice. You can always practicing joy, kindness, and gratitude will make a big difference in your life and other people's life. So just be grateful for one thing that happened to you today, and how has that impacted you, or maybe has it impacted another person? And so in the midst of your woes, what can you learn to be grateful for what you have now? Don't focus on the negativity. What can you focus on now? And is that impacting you? Just like the woman that said she was grateful how I impacted the community. You just don't know how you're going to impact a person with something negative. Another example is I'm standing at the corner with my 2 dogs. They're very well behaved. And I give them each a treat. And there's a little 4-year-old girl standing with her mother beside me, and she's watching all this. And I said, do you want to give them a treat? Or her eyes are as big as saucers. And so I put a treat in each one of her hands. And she takes them. Of course, the dogs gobble it up. We're walking down the street. 2 months later, she still remembers. So, number one, she remembers that she really enjoyed doing this, the pleasure, and maybe she doesn't have a fear of dogs now. So
Yeah.
you just don't know how you impacted the person.
Absolutely. Oh, that is absolutely beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Alexi, for sharing your story with us today. Conversations like this remind us that healing is possible, wholeness is possible, and that each of us has a calling on our lives. And thank you for being with us today on Healed, Whole, and Called. Till next time.
My pleasure. Thank you. Keep
You're welcome.
smiling and spread joy.